All right, guys, I'm on the road again, and I'm hands-free, so I'm not breaking the law, and I got my eyes on the road sometimes here. So back to the story with the 7-unit apartment building. It's a 7-unit building, and we took on it back around February of this year. We're now in November. It officially got leased out, fully occupied in the month of October. My opinion is it would have got done sooner, but like I shared with you, the owner was extremely lenient on some things that we as a management company would have not been lenient, just because we understand a little bit after working with tenants that certain things you just do not allow, and they have to be non-negotiable to keep the integrity of the contract or the rental agreement. So out of those 7 units, 3 became non-performing doors. And what's crazy is that, you know, when you start becoming too lenient with 1, with 2, with 3, it adds up. I mean, let's just do the basic math. Let's just say each door is paying $1,000 a month. If you become lenient with 3 tenants and they start paying late or not paying, that can quickly turn into a $3,000 a month deficit, where you're just simply not collecting or collecting late, and then you wonder why, as an owner, you might end up with a shortage of income, and that's just because small decisions like that of being lenient in areas that an owner should not be lenient. So either way, we ended up filling up the vacancy he had. He had a vacancy in number 3 when we took on it. We filled that up right away. That tenant has been nothing but a great tenant. That tenant has paid on time, been responsible, just never caused any problems. And then he still had 2 other tenants that were becoming an issue, number 5 and number 7. Number 5 basically turned into a nightmare, because not only was that tenant requesting for late payments, but then eventually that tenant wasn't just simply not paying. Number 7, that tenant was not only on a payment plan or a late payment plan, that tenant was also destroying the unit inside. Now, the thing with management is that you'll hear a lot of horror stories like, tenants are gonna just do everything wrong and all that. Look, at some point in our lives, most people, including ourselves, we have been tenants, and most of us have been good tenants. We've paid on time, we've taken care of our unit or our house, whatever it is that we're renting. So to say that there's tenant horror stories in everything you're involved as a landlord is false. It's not true. It comes back down to proper screening as a management company, because the screening that you do before you allow someone keys and the access to that unit is vital, is extremely important, because that screening is telling you a story of past habits. Now, that's not to say that people can't get second or third chances. I'm a believer in that. However, look at the story before you go for that second or third chance. One of the non-negotiables that we have is, if there's a past eviction on the record of any of the applicants, we simply just won't rent out to them. Not because we're rude, not because we're mean, but because they've already proven a inconsistency in a very, very important area, to where they just simply showed a lack of not a lack, but a carelessness towards not paying the rent to a point to get to eviction. Because you have to understand, in order for it to go to eviction, I mean, that tenant has to come to a point where he or she does not care. So, long story short, this building got filled up, and thankfully now, as of October 2017, it's not only fully occupied, but we got rid of the tenants that were becoming an issue, not just on lack of payment, but also on damaging the unit, becoming trouble just for the other neighbors and so forth. And thank God with it, it's a performing asset. Now, what is a performing asset in the world of real estate? It's simply an asset that's producing sufficient income to where, after all expenses are paid, it leaves you as an ownership of profit. So not only does it pay for all expenses, but at the end of the month, that owner is collecting money. And that's really what you want. What we want for our landlords is that they have performing assets that are producing an income, and that income exceeds all expenses, so that they can walk away and say, hey, this is an actual investment that makes me money, not loses me money. So just thought I'd share with you guys a couple of things, just the world of real estate. There's a lot more detail involved than most people think about it. I know that sometimes there's a lot of hype right now with classes and so forth. And believe me, I'm a strong believer in getting educated. I've invested a lot in getting educated, getting trained by the right programs. So I am a believer of that. However, understand how to discern between hype and reality. You know, nothing pays more than to actually roll up your sleeves and start doing the work for yourself to get a feel of really what it's going to take. And then you can begin to delegate and hire the right people, build the right team, because you have a good idea of what it's going to take to make something run as it relates to right now real estate, the rental real estate world, which is rental property. So I thought I'd share this with you guys. Hope this is helpful, and happy Monday.